Hello Army, welcome back to my channel. Okay, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now, because today we are talking about something that honestly made me sit back and just stare at the ceiling for a full minute before I could even process what I had just read. Now, I know that sounds dramatic. I know. But here's the thing about Jungkook, just when you think you have fully understood the extent of who he is as a person, just when you think you have cataloged every single way that he is extraordinary, he goes and does something like this. Something quiet. Something he didn't announce. Something he just decided to do because that is simply who he is. And today we are talking about 200 Dubai Chewy cookies, one night, and a man who somehow manages to be everything at once. So let's set the scene. Jungkook was at a filming location. Now, being on a film set or a content shooting location is not exactly what most people would describe as a relaxing day. There's a lot going on. There are cameras, there are schedules, there are staff members running around making sure everything comes together. It's a professional environment, and most people in that environment, especially someone who was there as the talent, as the main subject of whatever is being filmed, would be completely focused on their own job, on hitting their marks, on being prepared, on resting when they get the chance. That would be more than enough. That would be exactly what anyone would expect and exactly what would be totally, completely reasonable. But Jungkook is not most people. And what Jungkook apparently decided to do while he was at this filming location was look around at all the staff members, all the people working hard behind the scenes, the ones setting up lights and managing sound and coordinating logistics, and think to himself, I want to do something for these people. And not just think it. Actually do it. Because Jungkook doesn't just have kind thoughts. He acts on them. And the way he acted on this particular kind thought was by going home that night and making 200 Dubai Chewy cookies. 200. By himself. And then bringing them back to the filming location to share with everyone, staff included. I need you to really let that number sink in, because 200 is not a small batch of cookies you whip up in 20 minutes. Making 200 of anything in a home kitchen is a serious undertaking. It requires planning. It requires gathering ingredients. It requires time, energy, focus, and a genuine desire to see it through even when you're probably tired from a long day of filming. And Jungkook did all of that, not because anyone asked him to, not because it was part of any official schedule or PR plan, but simply because he wanted to make the people around him happy. That's it. That's the whole reason. Now, before we go any further, let's talk about the Dubai Chewy cookie itself. Because if you're not already obsessed with this particular food trend, you're about to be. The Dubai Chewy cookie, also known as the Dubai chocolate or Dubai Kunafa cookie depending on where you're seeing it discussed, is a dessert that has absolutely taken the food world by storm over the last couple of years, and it has recently become one of the biggest food trends in South Korea. The cookie is made from a combination of ingredients that sounds unusual but tastes absolutely incredible. Kunafa, which is a shredded pastry used in Middle Eastern cuisine, mixed with pistachio cream, often combined with marshmallow for that distinctive chewy texture, and usually coated in chocolate. The result is something that is simultaneously crunchy and chewy, nutty and sweet, familiar and completely unlike anything you've had before. It's the kind of food that people describe as life-changing, and the fact that it went from being a specialty item in Dubai to a massive trend across Asia and beyond says everything about how genuinely irresistible it is. And Jungkook, being the person he is, didn't just try one of these cookies and move on with his life. He decided that the best response to discovering something delicious was to make 200 of them and share them with everyone he knew at the filming location. Because of course that's what he decided to do. Of course it is. Now, let's think about what goes into making 200 of these cookies, because I think understanding the actual effort involved makes this story hit even harder. First, you need to source your ingredients. Kunafa is not exactly something you find at every corner store, especially in quantities large enough to make 200 cookies. Pistachio cream, marshmallows, chocolate, all of this needs to be purchased in significant amounts. Then you need to actually make the cookies, which involves preparing the kunafa filling, assembling the cookies, coating them, and letting them set properly. Each individual cookie requires attention and care to get right. Multiply that by 200 and you start to understand exactly how committed Jungkook was to this particular act of kindness. This was not a casual or spontaneous thing that took him 20 minutes. This was a project. A real, genuine project that he undertook entirely for the benefit of other people. And here's the part that gets me every single time I think about it. He said he was going to make them later that night. Later that night. After a day of filming. Most of us after a long day of work want to eat something easy and go to sleep. Jungkook's plan for after a long day of being on camera, being filmed, being on, was to go home and bake 200 cookies. That tells you everything you need to know about the kind of person he is. There is no performance in that. There is no camera catching that moment of generosity. It's just Jungkook, in his own time, using his own energy, creating something with his hands to give to other people. This kind of thing is not a one-time occurrence with Jungkook, and I think that's really important to acknowledge. Because it would be easy to hear this story and think, oh, that's such a sweet thing he did, what a nice gesture. And yes, it absolutely is a sweet and wonderful thing. But it's also part of a consistent pattern of behavior that tells us something fundamental about who Jungkook is as a human being. He is someone who thinks about the people around him. He is someone who doesn't just experience gratitude internally but expresses it through action. He is someone who, when he has the capacity to make people happy, chooses to use that capacity. Every time. Think about all the stories that have come out over the years about how Jungkook treats the people he works with. The staff members who have mentioned his warmth and consideration. The way he remembers people and makes them feel seen. The fact that he will show up for the people in his life with the same intensity and dedication that he brings to everything else he does. This is not someone who wears kindness as a public image. This is someone for whom kindness is simply a default setting. It's just who he is. And this matters so much in the context of someone who is as famous as Jungkook, because fame does strange things to people. The level of fame that Jungkook has reached, the kind where you are one of the most recognized faces on the entire planet, where you cannot walk down a street in most major cities without being recognized, where your every move is documented and discussed by millions of people, that level of fame can create a kind of distance between a person and the people around them. It can make it easy to stop seeing staff members as individuals with feelings and experiences, to start treating them as part of the background of your life rather than as people who deserve consideration and warmth. And Jungkook has never done that. He has reached the absolute pinnacle of global fame and he still shows up with 200 homemade cookies for the people working behind the scenes. He still sees them. He still cares. Let's also talk about the specific choice of the Dubai Chewy cookie, because I think it's actually really interesting that this is what Jungkook chose to make. This is a trendy food, yes, but it's also a food that requires real skill and attention to get right. It's not like showing up with a bag of chips or ordering a bunch of pizzas, which would also be a genuinely kind gesture but a much simpler one. Jungkook chose something that takes actual effort to make, something that people are genuinely excited about right now, something that feels special and considered rather than generic. That speaks to how much thought he put into this, how much he wanted to give people something they would actually love rather than just something functional. It also speaks to Jungkook's genuine interest in food and cooking, which is something that ARMY has known about for a long time but that I don't think always gets talked about as much as his other talents. Jungkook has always been someone who enjoys being in the kitchen, who finds satisfaction in preparing food for other people. And there's something really beautiful about the fact that he channels that interest into acts of generosity like this one. His love of cooking and his love of the people around him combine into this incredibly wholesome outcome where 200 people get to experience something delicious that he made with his own hands. Now I want to talk about the comment that was made about Jungkook in relation to this story, because it captures something really perfectly. Someone said that with everything Jungkook does, being handsome, being an incredible singer, being an incredible dancer, making music, cooking, being generous, being warm, it just makes you love him more and more. And honestly, how could you argue with that? Because it's not just that Jungkook is talented, although he is extraordinarily talented. It's not just that he's handsome, although obviously. It's the combination of all of these things with this genuine, consistent, deeply human warmth that makes him so impossible to not be completely captivated by. He is someone who could coast entirely on his talent and his looks and still have the most successful career imaginable. And instead he chooses to spend his nights making 200 cookies for staff members. The math is just not fair to the rest of humanity. And I think this story is particularly resonant right now because Jungkook is currently serving in the military, which means we are in a period where we miss him, where we are not getting new content from him in the way we normally would, where there is this absence that every army feels in their own way. And stories like this one, stories from before he went in, reminders of who he is and what he does and how he moves through the world, they matter so much during this time. They remind us of why we love him, why we're waiting for him, what exactly it is that makes Jungkook Jungkook in a way that no one else could ever replicate. Because here's the thing about missing someone you admire, it's easy to miss the big moments. The performances, the music releases, the variety show appearances, the moments that are recorded and shared and celebrated. But what this story reminds us is that what makes Jungkook truly irreplaceable is not just the big moments. It's the small ones. The moment he decides at the end of a filming day that he wants to make cookies for everyone. The moment he acts on that decision without fanfare, without any expectation of recognition, just because it feels right. Those are the moments that tell you who someone actually is. And who Jungkook actually is someone extraordinarily special. Let's also think about the impact this kind of gesture has on the people who receive it. Imagine being a staff member on that film set. You're working hard, probably long hours, doing the behind-the-scenes work that makes everything run smoothly but that rarely gets acknowledged in any visible way. And then Jungkook shows up with 200 homemade Dubai chewy cookies that he made the night before specifically for you and your colleagues. How does that make you feel? It makes you feel seen. It makes you feel appreciated. It makes you feel like the person you're working with actually recognizes your existence and values your contribution and cares about your experience. And in a world where that kind of genuine acknowledgement is rarer than it should be, especially from someone as powerful and famous as Jungkook, that feeling is genuinely profound. This is what separates great people from merely successful ones. Success can be achieved through talent and hard work and sometimes luck. But the kind of greatness that makes people truly love and respect you, that makes them feel honored to have been in your presence, to have worked with you, to have been on the receiving end of your generosity, that requires something deeper. It requires a fundamental orientation toward other people, a genuine interest in their well-being, a willingness to use whatever you have to make their experience better. And Jungkook has that in abundance. I want to take a moment to think about what this story tells us about how Jungkook experiences his own fame and success. Because one of the things that can happen when someone becomes extremely famous is that they begin to see themselves as fundamentally separate from the people around them. There's a psychological thing that happens with extreme fame where the sheer volume of admiration and attention you receive can start to distort your sense of yourself in relation to others. And some people, completely understandably given the circumstances, begin to inhabit that separation in a way that changes who they are. They start to feel that the normal rules of human decency and consideration don't quite apply to them in the same way, that they are exempt from the ordinary obligations of being in community with other people. Jungkook has never shown any sign of that. None. If anything, his behavior consistently suggests the opposite, that his success and the love he receives from ARMY and from the world has deepened his sense of responsibility to the people around him rather than diminishing it. He carries his fame lightly in the sense that it has not made him less human, less present, less genuinely caring about the individual people in his orbit. And the 200 cookies story is just one more piece of evidence for that. You don't make 200 cookies for a film crew if you think you're above the people on that film crew. You make 200 cookies for a film crew when you genuinely see them as people who deserve to be taken care of, who deserve to be celebrated, who deserve something delicious that you made with your own hands. There's also something really beautiful about the specific choice to bake as the form of generosity here. Baking is an act of transformation. You take raw ingredients, you apply skill and attention and time, and you create something that didn't exist before, something that has the power to bring people genuine joy. It's a fundamentally generous act in its very nature, because you are creating something entirely for the benefit of others. And Jungkook choosing baking as his vehicle for expressing care and appreciation for the people around him feels deeply consistent with everything we know about who he is. He doesn't do things halfway. He commits. He puts himself into whatever he's doing. And when the thing he's doing is making people happy, he does it with the same intensity and dedication that he brings to his music and his performances. 200 cookies. Made by hand. Brought to the set. Because he wanted to. As we come toward the end of today's video, I want to sit with what this story means in the larger narrative of who Jungkook is. Because I think sometimes when we talk about our favorite artists, we focus so heavily on the measurable, visible aspects of their talent, the vocal range, the dance skills, the visual artistry, that we can sometimes undervalue the quieter, less quantifiable qualities that make them truly extraordinary as human beings. Jungkook is an incredible vocalist. He is an extraordinary dancer. He is a genuine and gifted songwriter. He is visually stunning in a way that genuinely does not seem entirely fair to the rest of us. All of these things are true and all of them deserve to be celebrated. But the thing that makes Jungkook truly irreplaceable, the thing that makes ARMY love him in a way that goes so much deeper than admiration for a performer, is exactly this. It's the 200 cookies. It's the choosing to stay up after a long day of filming to make something with his hands for the people around him. It's the consistent, unconditional, entirely genuine care he has for the people in his world. That is not something you can teach. That is not something that comes from training or from talent. That is just who he is. And who he is someone genuinely remarkable. Jungkook is in the military right now, doing his duty the same way he does everything else, completely, seriously, with his whole heart. And while he's away, stories like this one keep circulating, keep reminding people of who he is, keep confirming what ARMY has always known about him. The world is not forgetting Jungkook. The world is not moving on. If anything, every story like this one only deepens the love and the appreciation for him, only makes his eventual return something that the entire world is going to feel. 200 Dubai Chewy cookies, made by hand, in one night, for a film crew. That's the story. That's all it is, on the surface. But underneath it is everything that makes Jungkook who he is, the generosity, the thoughtfulness, the genuine care, the commitment to seeing the people around him and making them feel valued. And honestly, ARMY, if you needed one more reason to be completely in love with this man, which you absolutely did not, but here it is anyway, this is it. Thank you so much for watching today. If this video made your heart feel full, please give it a thumbs up and share it with every ARMY you know, because we all deserve to feel this good today. Leave a comment below telling me how you felt when you first heard this story, because I know we all had a moment. Subscribe if you haven't already, because there is so much more Jungkook content coming and you do not want to miss a single second of it. Take care of yourselves, ARMY. Purple you always. Purple heart.